I think we have time for, we'll hear 2 comments or questions. Of course, there are so many. All right, going to make sure we're gender correct here.
Yeah, thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. It was really good, I must confess, but I'm a bit worried about the challenges of the traditional rulers, as you mentioned in your presentation, and you said their involvement in politics. And you went on to say that they shouldn't participate in politics, and that got me worried. Because as important as traditional rulers are, in the whole of Africa, they are taken to be the custodians of culture and tradition. And by implication, they are epitome of justice. And if you begin to remove them or deprive them that right of participating in politics, how do you think the society will get it right? Because they are supposed to be guiding the other ones. Personally, I think you should be talking about them living up to their responsibility as true custodians of justice in the traditional society, rather than saying they shouldn't participate at all. That is their civic right. And they must participate to put the erring politicians at the right track. When they go wrong, they should be able, because they are elders, custodians of justice. Everybody rely on them to get it right. And when you remove them from governance, I wonder the type of society you are going to have.
Madam, your point is well taken. Let me come in quickly.
Let me finish, please. I'm still standing.
And then I have one more comment, and then you're going to get the last.
Okay.
Okay, that's point number 1. And another question, in River State, don't you have a measure to control an erring traditional ruler? You just allow them. If they like, let them follow the truth. If they don't like, let them go about it their own way. Don't you have a way of making sure that a traditional ruler lives up to his or her expectations? Thank you.
Okay.
I have a second question in the back.
Hello, I'm Zhui Wang, a PhD student from Conflict Resolution Program of Nova Southeastern University. And first of all, thank you for your wonderful presentation. My understandings of Nigeria has been greatly enlarged by your wonderful presentation. I got a question for you. Half years ago, I was so lucky, and I was able to meet the international ambassador of Nigeria in Florida. And he introduced a lot of things about Nigeria, what's going on in Nigeria. And he mentioned the Nigeria government hope more and more foreigner companies to invest in Nigeria, because Nigeria is obviously growing very fast and is developing fast, and they need foreigner capitals to help them. But at the same time, you know, some Nigeria people, my classmates, they comment that, you know, because there are so many foreigners and foreigner companies in Nigeria now, so the tradition of Nigeria has been negatively influenced by these foreigners. Yeah. So what's your comment about that?
Yeah.
We're going to have one more comment,
okay.
Sorry, and then I'm going to, sorry, you have the mic. So you have
all right. First, I enjoyed your presentation, but quickly on the need for traditional rulers to avoid politics. I want to say that it's a delicate balancing act. Serving your people and trying to protect the interests of government. It is not as easy or as simple as you put it to say traditional rulers should not be partisan. If it is possible, wonderful. But when you say traditional rulers should not be involved in politics, but should there be a problem in the kingdom or in the community, who do you ask the question first? You go to the traditional rulers. The same people, they want to seek political offices, they come to you for your blessings.
Yeah.
The same people control the political and economic base, not the traditional ruler. Even the 5% you made reference to are not even implemented by most of the states, including my own state. Therefore, the traditional rulers are at the mercy of the executive arm of government, the politicians, and the rest of them. Now, the system has evolved over time and created a system where traditional rulers do not really have a say as to who becomes what. Assembly member, local government, even councillor. And so these people come with all the affluence of public office. You cannot control them because they have the economic base, they have the political base. You are a traditional ruler. There must be a meeting point. And that meeting point, I'm going to suggest, is character. The traditional ruler must be a man of integrity, must have honor and glory with him, to be able to tell the political office holders when they are going beyond the line, no, hold it there. You cannot have a complete system where the traditional ruler must not have a say. I must have a say on who represents me. I'm not interested in the political party, but I'm interested in who is going to represent me. Until we have such opportunities, they'll continue to treat traditional rulers the way they are treating them. We must have a say on who represents us. They can chop the money, but let them come and account, tell us how they spent the money.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Can I respond?
Yes.
Your question and Madam Grace's question is interwoven, and I will take the two together. You've hinted on the way forward. Now, what are we saying? I have been in politics, so I know how the politicians think. What we are saying in this presentation, sir, if you have a source of livelihood that ab initio, you don't depend on them because you are supposed to be the custodian. Take, for instance, part of why the institution is suffering in most of these cases you have identified is because they come out. The two dominant parties in Nigeria as we speak today is APC at the federal and PDP in most of the states and the main opposition. If you as a chief identify fully with APC or in any other party and a different government is in charge, when the opposition takes over, you definitely are bound to suffer. So what we are saying, or what these people intend to say, is not for you not to do politics at all. You will have your say, but be on top of the game. Sensitize your people. When the governor in quote, or the president in quote, knows that you are in charge of your people, you will be the reference point. You will certainly determine who should be voted for or not, but not being a card-carrying member of a political party. I cite an example. On the 16th of September, there was a governorship election in Osun State. The Oni of Ife, who by right is the traditional ruler of that state and indeed the Western Nigeria, refused to vote for any of the governorship candidates. That is an example of not being partisan because when he was asked, why didn't you vote? He said, all the contestants are my subjects. So if I vote for APC or PDP, which example am I stating? But whoever wins knows that the office of the palace of the Oni of Ife is where they all come for blessings. So when they come, that is single vote. May or may not determine who wins. But when you maintain that position of impartiality, you are going to gain the confidence of the people. Because truly, we have seen situations where the people came together and said, this is the way we are going. And money could not change them. In your own state, we have clear cases of where the people have said, this is the way forward, and it was heard. So, and continue to encourage them. Let the people believe in you. Because if I am running an election, I contested chairmanship election of my local government in 2008 and 2011.
Sorry.
If, as at that time, a chief in my community comes to say, look, Moses, I'm supporting you, and And if I win, I will do everything to enhance him. Most of them were de-recognized because they identify. That's why for when every governor emerges, he demoves certain chiefs or change their position. You see another chairman of Council of Traditional emerging, another one, and it continues to be a back and forth thing it shouldn't be. So one of the ways to insulate you from being partisan in politics is to ensure that you have a secure source of livelihood. Because what is driving you into politics is the ability to eat and take care of your responsibility. So once you can do that without looking up to politicians, then the deal is done. My friend, hello? My friend, yes. We had a clear case of a lot of foreigners. I come from an oil-producing area. When the Element Petrochemical Complex was built in the early 90s, we have a lot of Italians, German, Japanese, and Americans came into Rivers State to build that complex. And because of the large number of foreigners who came, we had so many issues that came with it. Our young ladies started going into prostitution because these oil workers who came in had so much money, had currency, and in a way, it affected the traditional way of the people. Our king here has a liquefied natural gas facility in his domain. He can attest to what I'm saying. When you have a community of less than 100,000 persons, let's say a community of about 3,000 persons, and all of a sudden, you are seeing workers going to a site or that came into that community and the workers are numbering over 8,000. The immediate effect is that the cost of living shoots up. Anything you sell, anything you have will sell. Any room you have will be occupied. And then the guys, even sometimes, because of their influence, even the married women are tempted to misbehave. So it has a negative effect. Also, there is a positive side because it brings a lot of investment. We have to deal with all of this. That's why today, if you come to a place like Port Harcourt, the lifestyle in areas like Bonny, those communities where you have these heavy, huge oil and gas facilities entirely different from other parts of the country where you don't have such facility. Yes, the impact of more foreigners coming into the place has affected the normal life of the people, but there has to be a balance. And what is that balance? We must educate our people to say, look, what is the source of this conflict? And the worst of it is that when these people come, our people are always given temporary jobs. They are always the contractor. We are never given permanent job. And it's part of the agitation that we are having. We have all of this. You come here and you give me contract job when I have the qualification to be a permanent staff. And so after a few months or about a year of the operation, people are left back to their original lifestyle, haven't raised them within a short period, and there is no sustainability. It's a challenge. So going forward, it's part of the negative impact, but going forward is that we are now advocating every community that has resources beneath the soil should have a stake. If you come to prospect for oil in my domain, I should have a stake. So that when you begin to exploit, I should not be at the whims of caprices of what you do, so that when you go, if I'm able to eat twice a day, I should be able to maintain my 2 meals per day. Not when you come, I'm able to eat 3 times. The day you leave, I can barely drink water. So it's part of the injustice we are fighting, and we will not have justice until there is fairness, and we think that the best way to go is to restructure the country.
Thank you. I apologize.
Question, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm told we have to stop because of.
You can leave the chance for the other people to ask. Not always the same people are asking.
Okay, you get the
Yes,
last comment,
please.
but we will then break
Yeah,
for lunch, and the third presentation will be after lunch.
okay.
And if I may, we went over time in both of the presentations. There's a lot of energy and desire for discussion, and so I'm sure over lunch you'll be available to speak with people offline. So I'll take your one last comment,
Okay,
and then we'll break for lunch, and then the third presentation of this panel will begin immediately after lunch.
It's
Please.
question, it's not comment. My question, you spoke about the ethnic conflict and violence in Nigeria, and we know the Nigeria is peaceful society. But you didn't speak about the Boko Haram, which is the group, Islamic group. Yes, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I want to know who has produced this Boko Haram. And this tendency, Salafism tendency now. And the Nigerian people lived in peace between Christians and Muslims, and now are living another problem with Boko Haram. Is it politically produced or ideologically produced? What is this most question?
Okay, I will attempt to answer you, sir. You see, because of how diverse Nigeria is, Boko Haram is an offshoot of political, people want to draw political attention. It came out of politics. Because when the people of southern Nigeria, particularly the Niger Delta region, felt that we were not giving the right attention, kidnapping started. What do? I'm sorry, we are in America here, and parts of some of the Americans were a victim of what happened. They targeted some of the oil workers that were white. They kidnapped them, get a ransom, and they released them. Nobody was killed. And they got attention. It's as a way of drawing attention of the federal government. So look, we are suffering. You lay pipes, convey oil, you don't give us job. The environment is devastated. Where I come from, as of today, we have more than 300 oil spill sites not clean. Yet, government takes billions upon billions of royalty from oil majors. And you have destroyed the people's sources of livelihood. Now, when that happened, it came to a point where there was complete shutdown of the oil and gas. And the Yar'Adua government that time came up with the idea of granting the people, the youth, amnesty. Those who have been involved, will give you freedom, we train you, we do that. Now, those in the north felt that we were being given due attention. Remember, if you look at the map of Nigeria, the entire weight is on the southern states, the few oil-producing states. And so the Boko Haram thing, by my own understanding, was something few persons did to get attention. But over time, because of the widespread poverty in the north, the thing got out of hand. And today now we are all devastated, we are all worried, we are all concerned, we are all affected by what has happened. Those who started it at the moment can no longer control it. I'm sorry to say that it is proper. We are here to talk about the best way to resolve conflicts and reduce violence. If I do a thing and you are not happy with me, the best way to go is not to plan to kill or to maim. Look for a middle way out. Those in the north who felt that somebody from the south Nigeria became governor, and part of this had political history. When Obasanjo did his 8 years, he handed over to Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua died, he became Jonathan. The northerners were not happy. So they planned to disrupt the government because somebody from the south was there. Now that it is their own people, they are handicapped. We are now faced with the same thing they caused. So the long and short of it is that it is only fairness. And the Boko Haram people are also saying, that's why right now in Nigeria, people are now saying, the same northerners are saying that, look, somebody from the northeast, that's Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, and Taraba, somebody from that axis should be made to be the next president so that we can address this issue caused by Boko Haram. That's why the presidential candidate of the opposition party is now from Adamawa State, one of the core areas affected by Boko Haram. So let's see what he's going to do when he comes into power, to address that. So it all shows that we must see the next person as ourselves. Conspiring against one another is not the way out. Right now, we are all handicapped, and we pray that, and the key to resolving all of this is love. It's love. We must love ourselves.
Thank you. It's a nice way to end the session.